All right, we're here with Mason Rumney of Masonry Domes. How you doing, Mason?
I'm fine, thank you.
So why don't you tell us about this dome and how you came about with making it and what it does and how it's helped you and how efficient it is and all that great stuff.
Well, first of all, I decided to move out of Colorado into some warmer weather in Arizona. So I picked the property because of the ambience, and of course everybody talks about the red rocks. It was near Sedona. In the process of doing that, I learned later there wasn't electricity out here, and it was going to be expensive to bring it in. The application was that I'd also had a dome in Colorado Springs that was very energy efficient, so it was a very energy efficient idea to bring solar and domes together here, because I'd sold both in Colorado when I had a dome and sold solar as a business. In the process, it kind of merged into one self-contained unit. And in the process of doing that, the application was that I didn't need to hook up the very expensive grid work. And so instead of the $80,000 hookup, I had a $20,000 system installed 20 years ago or so. In the application of that, more and more people wanted to know how to be more efficient. And it kind of bloomed or grew into its age of becoming part of the process of our future science, let's say. Our future science being the application of energy efficient housing. The dome itself offers many, many qualities, and I say this just about in every introduction that I've ever talked to people about. The thing that was so amazing to me is that I was able to heat it on loose dead wood around here. A permit was only $15. The other advantage is the #1 energy drain in our country seems to be air conditioning. And I didn't put one in this dome. Only because I saw the winters and the snow and the summer seemed okay. And because of the high insulation factor, the dome itself really didn't need air conditioning. It never got over 75 degrees. It was so well insulated. So when people were doing, like 3-foot walls and all kinds of different types of construction for insulation, we used a polyurethane on the inside of a balloon for insulation. And then we did the concrete dome. The concrete dome obviously gives it more structural integrity. Mm-hmm. We have stories where they were windproof and up to several hundred miles an hour. They withstand tornadoes and hurricanes and all kinds of things like that.
I have a question. A $20,000, you said the solar panels were $20,000 20 years ago.
Right.
And a system like that gives you enough power all day.
Well, actually, it didn't really last that long.
Okay.
Because the collectors weren't the best. They were local people doing their own thing in Arizona.
What do you mean collectors?
The solar collectors are the silicon wafers.
Oh, okay.
Structure over there.
Okay.
And we may want to move a little bit so I can see better.
Okay.
And in the application of that, the power is brought in from the sun and made into electricity, and then it's stored in my little shed now under the deck where we have some batteries.
Okay.
And as we walk over there, we'll see all this and get a little closer and talk about it.
Okay.
All right?
Cool.
Okay, the first set of collectors here are the ones for electricity. And they're top of the line, obviously. Laser grooved, quality. The advantage was when my old collectors didn't seem to pan out, I got new ones during the credits back in the early 2000 era.
What do you mean the credits?
There were a lot of credits that were offered.
Oh, okay.
Government, tax deductions, bonuses. I even had a bank help donate $16,000 towards the new system.
Oh.
And overall, I think I had $27,000 gifted or credited or situation for my collectors out of a $29,000 system. So I managed to get a whole new system new computers, and we're going to go see that next to the batteries and everything to upgrade. And of course these collectors have about a 2% loss, maybe a 1% per year the first 2 years. So a 2% loss in 50 years.
What do you mean a 2% loss?
Things wear out.
Oh,
Your
okay.
car's not running efficiently 20 years later.
Oh, okay.
You know, but they're the same thing. But because they're such a high quality collector, they offer a very clear energy efficiency.
Okay.
In other words, by taking the sun, receiving that energy, creating electricity out of it, and then of course storing it would be the next situation. The collectors next to it are hot water collectors over here, and they are preheating my hot water. And of course I have a tank in there, and we're going to see all this stuff. And they preheat the water for my system. And a lot of people don't realize that about 80%, and one of the things I used to sell were hot water systems in Colorado. They were so well done.
You used to sell systems like this?
Sorry?
You sold systems like this?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly like this. Looks like some of this.
So what happens is the hot water, the sun hits this dark
right. The water
surface.
runs through there, and it heats it up.
Oh wow, okay.
And actually, you can see a photovoltaic eye on the shed over there. Zero in on that little thing next to the wire. And that actually turns the pump on and the electricity.
You're talking about that silver box?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that turns on the pump, which runs the water up here.
How does it turn on the pump?
When the sun hits it.
Oh wow, okay. Okay.
Okay. So it's a self-contained system where the sun tells it we've got enough power coming in, let's use it.
Okay.
And so there's like a little switch that turns on the pump.
Wow.
Okay. So let's go on over here and look at the storage unit. And this is my kitchen window. I always like the morning sun first thing, especially when I'm up having, you know, a little before work or breakfast or things like that. And this is my utility room. It used to be a box full of collectors. I mean, batteries, little batteries, like car-sized batteries. Well, we've upgraded. Over the years, I found out that you could get bigger batteries. You could get giant batteries if you wanted, or expensive batteries. But these were enough to run the house.
Wow.
In fact, there's enough power coming in. We're going to see that it also runs the jacuzzi tub and my sauna during the day. The only thing is, the trick is to use the power when the sun's up, because otherwise it can drain the batteries if you use too much power, like for hair dryers. Those three things are obviously very energy consumption. Now over here we have, oh, I'm glad to see this work. This is an automatic watering system. And what it does is every week it has a timer, and it turns on for about 20 minutes or 10 minutes, and it drips water and tops off the batteries. And that was one of the real maintenance headaches that I used to have with 30 batteries. I had to make sure all my batteries were topped up every week.
Oh wow.
In this case, I can just take a gallon of distilled water and pour it in here, and this is a 5-gallon container, and it used maybe a couple quarts or maybe a quart of water this week to top off the batteries. It's a very simple system. And that was one of the major headaches if you ever had a solar system and deep cell batteries that you had to deal with. So that was a very simple solution. And the only thing you want to pay attention, after 20 years it finally froze in here. So I had to thaw the place out a little bit and buy a little $10 heater.
Oh wow.
And it worked fine, you know, and this room barely gets under 40 degrees in the coldest of days. But it's next to a dome. You know, there's a little warmth and connection of heat exchange here, maybe. And then I have a hot water heater here also that is heated by the solar system. So this automatically, gravity heats up my low water before it comes in. And that's one of the major things about a hot water heater, is you have to keep it hot all the time. By having a solar system that preheats all this, you have a lot less need for fuel. You only need the fuel. It's like an on-demand system at that point. And then it really only comes in when you're using the water, because the water's kept warm, or at least semi-warm, enough to use if you want. If the system breaks down, you don't want to use the fuel. The first several years, I only had the hot water system. from the solar. And there were a lot of times where it got maybe warm. So we boosted it up by putting the solar hot water system in.
Okay.
Okay?
Nice.
Let's go inside now. Welcome to the home sweet dome. This is my energy efficient building. The building is what allowed me to go off-grid out here. The opportunities of living in a minimum energy environment is what the dome is all about. This particular dome helped me solve those problems we talked about: hookup, expensive use of energies. And the fact that the dome was so energy efficient that my dome itself was heated by this one fireplace. And this one fireplace was enough to heat the whole building. The first year I was here, I didn't have a fireplace to heat. And we all huddled in the bedroom together. There was a couple and I who lived here. And in that process of time, our body heat was enough to heat the room. People say, how do you heat it? We almost say with a candle. It's so efficient. So the fireplace, and people from colder environments are impressed that that's all it takes to heat this. But remember, this all stimulated from a dome that I had as a commercial building in Colorado Springs, where my heating bill on a 2,000 square foot building was $5 to $8 a month for 3 years. That's why it sold. These things are so energy efficient, it's off the chart with most sustainable buildings. And the fact that we have a concept where we could do multiple domes over here. And the multiple dome concept is the bedroom, kitchen, dining, some utility rooms, and all these things could be different environments that you create. This is a one dome environment. Each one of these buildings offers opportunities to use the room in a different way. The application of all this stems back to the sustainability. How do we live with the earth? How do we get closer to the earth? How do we integrate with the energy situations that we go through? And it brings about a stability that we don't have in a lot of ways. You can see that with the market fluctuation. And this stability is something that is long-term.
So now we only have a little bit of time left. Talk about the energetics of the dome. Like, why is the dome beneficial on an energetic level?
Well, a dome uses a third less material for the same square footage as a box.
Yeah.
So it has that efficiency where it saves you 60 to 80%. It also offers a sacred geometry,
Okay.
which some people like to get into. It's something that would take a whole class really to explain the sacred geometry relationships of integration of the earth and the cosmos and all these things. In this application, we offer a simple form of integration. And that was why I created the company called Masonry Domes, so that people could learn about these things and connect and get into the monolithic process, which is the basic core of doing a building. This offers us such a little space that, efficiency with a maximum amount of space and a minimum amount of material. So give me a call, 928-300-7352.
Thanks, Mason.